This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. It's Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
The suspect in the assassination attempt against Donald Trump was camped outside Trump's Florida golf course for nearly 12 hours. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Calls for more congressional funding for the Secret Service following a second assassination attempt on Donald Trump. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
A once-in-a-lifetime kind of storm hits the Carolinas,
producing tropical storm-like conditions.
I'm Clayton Neville.
20-inch pipeline carrying natural gas liquids exploded in suburban Houston.
We're just in a containment mode.
I'm Jennifer King.
On Wall Street, the Dow hit a fresh record high yesterday as investors look for a cut in interest rates tomorrow. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Officials are warning people to stay out of the ocean at several beaches in Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
All ahead on America in the Morning. The suspect arrested in an apparent assassination attempt against Donald Trump made his first appearance in a Florida court, seen smiling as he was charged with two initial crimes. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports on how the U.S. Secret Service initially responded to the threat and how a quick-thinking civilian helped police as they tracked down Ryan Wesley Routh.
The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agent. The agent's hypervigilance and the detailed swift action was textbook, and I commend them and our partners for an exemplary response in keeping former President Trump safe.
Court records show cell phone information placed Ryan Routh outside the course from roughly 2 a.m. Sunday until 1:30 in the afternoon. That's when Secret Service agents spotted a rifle barrel sticking out of the shrubbery on the course where Trump was playing. An agent opened fire and Routh fled in an SUV.
Driver! Take 2 steps to your right! Take 2 steps to your right! Driver! Walk straight back! Keep walking!
Before deputies in neighboring Martin County caught him. Authorities are not revealing a particular motive, though Routh had called for Iran to assassinate Trump, whom he once backed. Routh appeared wearing shackles at a West Palm Beach federal courtroom where he was charged with 2 gun counts. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Some lawmakers and the U.S. Secret Service say discussions are needed to provide the agency with more money in the wake of a second failed assassination attempt against Donald Trump in as many months. John Stolnis has that part of the story from Washington.
Ronald Rowe is the acting U.S. Secret Service director, telling reporters at a news conference yesterday their agents were on the ball and performed their jobs beautifully.
The president is aware that he has highest levels of protection that the Secret Service is providing him. And yesterday what we show is that our agents and our protective methodologies, and there's a lot of tactical assets in place, things that have been put in place as a result of what happened 60 days ago, those elements are working, and that demonstrates the redundancies that we have.
Son courtesy of WPBF. Rowe also said hard discussions will need to take place with members of Congress over funding, something Senate Democratic Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said is on the table sooner rather than later.
Congress has a responsibility to ensure the Secret Service and all law enforcement have the resources they need to do their jobs. So as we continue the appropriations process, if the Secret Service is in need of more resources, we are prepared to providing it for them, possibly in the upcoming funding agreement.
Rowe confirmed former President Trump was never shot at by the suspect, Ryan Wesley Routh. Routh was charged in court yesterday with 1 count of possessing a firearm by a convicted felon and another for destroying the serial number on his automatic rifle. Jeffrey Veltri, FBI special agent in charge of the Miami field office, was asked if they believe Routh had any help.
At this point, we're still exploring that, investigating that. Our investigation will determine that. We do not have information that he's been acting with anyone else at present.
Routh had staged himself in a wooded area just outside the course for 12 hours before he was spotted. Unlike the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, Trump's appearance at the golf course yesterday was not on his public schedule, and Routh never had a line of sight with the former president. In a speech in Philadelphia, President Joe Biden said all acts of political violence are reprehensible.
In America, we resolve our differences peacefully at the ballot box, not at the end of a gun. America suffered too many times the tragedy of an assassin's bullet. It solves nothing and just tears the country apart.
Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, telling a crowd in Atlanta the left needs to tone down its rhetoric.
I'm not going to say that conservatives always get things exactly right, but you know the big difference between conservatives and liberals is that no one has tried to kill Kamala Harris in the last couple of months, and 2 people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months.
John Stolnis, Washington.
Flooding in the Carolinas, pipeline explosion in Texas. Those stories when America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning, an active day for weather, and following details is AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton with today's forecast.
A tropical rainstorm has pushed inland over the Carolinas, and this feature is expected to bring periods of soaking rainfall today to parts of the southeast and the mid-Atlantic, with downpours expected from far eastern Tennessee and Kentucky through the nation's capital and into Delaware. The storm will continue to churn some dangerous beach conditions, such as rough surf and rip currents, with another day of beach erosion for the mid-Atlantic. The gusty wind threat should continue to lessen over the course of today, but breezy conditions at the very least are expected from southern New Jersey through Virginia and perhaps even the northern half or so of North Carolina. Generally dry conditions hold on today from the northeast across much of the Great Lakes region and a good portion of the Midwest, but to the west of there, a cold front advancing toward the center of the country brings the most widespread risk for severe weather in days, as storms from the Texas Panhandle and eastern New Mexico, northwards of southwestern North Dakota and southeastern Montana can produce strong winds and even some hail this afternoon and into tonight. Similar severe weather impacts continue through Thursday for parts of the northern plains and the upper Midwest, as the front makes only gradual progress eastward before lifting generally northward toward Canada. Plentiful showers and some thunderstorms can be expected today across the northern Rockies and into western Colorado, with showers of rain and high elevation snow not out of the question in Nevada. A new storm arriving in the Pacific Northwest brings rain to the coast, with some showers extending farther inland, but the rest of the West Coast and even most of Arizona looks dry. In Phoenix, the historic month-long string of 100-degree days ends today with sunshine and a high of 93. Look for rain in Richmond, Virginia, with breezy conditions and flooding possible on the way to a high of just 74. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Remember to follow us wherever you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. Flooding is impacting the Carolinas in the midst of what some are calling a 1,000-year storm. Correspondent Clayton Neville has the latest on Tropical Cyclone number 8.
Carolina Beach saw 18 inches of rain in a span of hours. School districts closed and some homes and businesses destroyed by floodwaters. This woman spoke with WRAL-TV in Raleigh.
Transformer blew, so we stayed in the car and called 911, and our amazing firemen came and pulled us out of the car.
Thousands of residents in the Carolinas left in the dark.
And while the system doesn't have all the characteristics to make it a tropical storm, it's producing tropical storm-like conditions across especially portions of the southeastern North Carolina coast here. The system is moving gradually inland.
Dr. Michael Brennan with the National Hurricane Center.
And we have flood and flash flood watches in effect for northeastern South Carolina, much of central and the southern, eastern, southeastern, and east central portions of North Carolina, including parts of the Outer Banks, Morehead City, Wilmington, Fayetteville, up to the Raleigh area, up toward the north towards the Virginia border.
Officials in North Carolina urging residents today to stay off the roads until the threat passes and the rain stops. I'm Clayton Neville.
A pipeline explosion, which may have started following a traffic accident, caused a pillar of fire in a Texas town that may take 24 hours to stop burning. Residents in the area evacuated. More on the story from Jennifer King.
A 20-inch pipeline carrying natural gas liquids exploded, rattling homes in suburban Houston and shooting up a tower of fire and smoke that could be seen 10 miles away.
We're just in a containment mode.
Deer Park Mayor Jerry Mouton spoke at a news conference carried by KTRK.
The fire is it's very hot, so a lot of the house structures that are adjacent to that are still catching on fire, even though we're putting a lot of water on them.
The fire led to evacuations in Deer Park and LaPorte, with some schools closed down or asked to shelter in place. The operators, Energy Transfer, say the pipeline has been shut down.
So the product in the pipeline is just going to have to burn off.
Aerial footage showed a burned car near the source of the flame, and Energy Transfer said it was aware of early reports that a car had struck some valve equipment, but local authorities did not want to speculate. I'm Jennifer King.
In sports, the Atlanta Falcons came from behind in a 22-21 win over the Philadelphia Eagles in Monday Night Football. When we return on America in the Morning, new CEO reboots Amazon. After these messages. This is America in the Morning. Welcome back. The Business Report is brought to you by Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, always putting clients' interests first. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after the Dow hit a fresh record high and the S&P 500 index is inching toward 1. Investors are waiting for the Fed to cut interest rates tomorrow for the first time in about 4 years.
Look at the S&P 500. We made a near approach to the former mid-July highs back in August, fell away again, and now we are attempting it again.
CNBC's Mike Santoli. Gold hit a new record, $2,617 an ounce yesterday before pulling back a little. Intel and Amazon's Web Services will work together on computer chips. Intel shares soared after hours yesterday. Amazon, meantime, wants everybody back in the office 5 days a week, starting with the new year.
In a letter to employees now, really taking aim at some of the bureaucracy, he calls out at Amazon. People are going to be back in the office 5 days a week. That's going to go into effect as of January 2025. Not necessarily layoffs, but sort of forcing those out who might not want to be in the office. They did not mention any sort of layoffs, I should note, in the CEO letter here from Jassy. But it's often, a sort of way around that to say if you're not on board with this new culture shift, to be back in the office 5 days a week, then this might not be the place for you.
CNBC's Kate Rooney. Boeing freezing all hiring as it deals with a factory worker strike. Gas prices haven't been this low in a while. AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular now $3.20. 16 states have gas with a 2 handle below $3 a gallon. Apple shares slid almost 3% on reports of sluggish demand for pre-orders for the new iPhone 16. Oracle's Larry Ellison, now the world's second richest person, taking the number 2 spot from Amazon's Jeff Bezos, but still behind Tesla's Elon Musk.
What can we expect to see with mortgage rates when the Fed cuts the interest rate?
Mortgage rates actually loosely follow the yield on the 10-year Treasury note, not really bank rates, but it's all connected. Experts say would-be homebuyers should be a little patient as mortgage rates will keep falling, just not very fast.
Mortgage rates will continue to come down. They're now in the low 6s. They were at 8% last year. A lot of experts are saying that by 2025, they will be in the 5% for a 30-year. It's unfolded gradually. And it's going to take time.
Brown Harris Stevens, Bess Friedman on CNBC. On today's watch list, the Fed does start that 2-day meeting on interest rates with the expected cut tomorrow afternoon. We get the latest today on retail sales.
Very good. CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. Out of the water and off the beaches in these East Coast towns when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. A man jumped a turnstile at a New York City subway stop, which led to a confrontation with police, leaving 4 people shot. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
The NYPD says officers tried to tase him, but that didn't work, so they opened fire, striking not only the man with the knife, but 2 bystanders, one in the head, and one of the officers was hit with friendly fire.
Thank God our officers are okay. Clearly, they averted an even greater tragedy with a person with over 20 arrests. a real career criminal.
MTA head Jano Lieber says police were protecting people.
They were trying to prevent somebody who had a weapon from getting on the train, and terrible things occurred.
NYPD Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry says the man is a career criminal.
Somebody who has a significant arrest history.
Audio courtesy WABC, Julie Walker, New York.
3 states forced to shut down their beaches, and it had nothing to do with the weather or sharks. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports on what led authorities to force people to stay out of the water.
Officials are warning people to stay out of the ocean at several beaches in Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia after they say medical waste, including hypodermic needles, washed ashore. Assateague Island National Seashore closed all ocean-facing beaches in Maryland and Virginia to swimming and wading. The Maryland Department of Natural Resources says swimming, wading, and surfing were banned at Assateague State Park after rangers found needles and caps along the beach there Sunday. Swimming in Ocean City, Maryland was closed after medical waste was found there. The source of the waste is under investigation. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Today, our program marks a milestone. It was on this date 40 years ago, listeners heard the debut of America in the Morning. Broadcasting legend Jim Bohannon was the original host of the show and held that role for 31 years. I succeeded Jim as host in 2015 in an objective and nonpartisan style. America in the Morning for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay. Senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour, update on the apparent assassination attempt against Donald Trump, and
dozens of hoax calls lead to security sweeps in Springfield. I'm Clayton Neville.
A hearing has started into the investigation of the deadly implosion of an experimental submersible headed for the wreck of the Titanic. I'm Ed Donahue.
An 11-year-old student was charged for threatening a mass shooting at his school. I'm Sue Aller.
A Wisconsin judge says no to RFK Jr., and an Arizona judge says no to Mark Meadows.
The sons of Trump are launching a new crypto exchange. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
A famous music mogul arrested in New York. We'll tell you why. Back after these messages. You're with America in the Morning. Let's head over to the national weather map for today's forecast. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
As a cold front pushes out of the Rockies and toward a primed air mass across the western plains, severe thunderstorms can break out today, not only in states such as North Dakota that faced severe weather Monday night, but from eastern Wyoming to far eastern New Mexico and across western portions of the Dakotas through the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. Any storm this afternoon and into the night may be capable of producing hail and damaging wind gusts, but severe storms can reignite daily through Thursday in various parts of the northern plains after a recent lull in widespread powerful thunderstorms. The core of this same disturbance will actually hang out around eastern Montana for most of the day today. This means that there can be numerous showers and thunderstorms, along with some areas of steadier rain from central Montana and much of Idaho into mainly northern Utah and even western Colorado. A separate storm coming on shore will mean some steady rain close to the Washington and Oregon coastlines, with some showers farther inland as well. East of the Mississippi River, the main story is a tropical rainstorm that will continue to deliver some enhanced rainfall to parts of the southeast and the mid-Atlantic, with downpours expected from the Carolinas into West Virginia and even the Delmarva Peninsula. Expect continued rough surf, rip currents, and beach erosion around the mid-Atlantic as the heavy rain continues, with gusty winds throughout the Carolinas and even for parts of coastal southeastern Virginia that may still approach tropical storm force at times before this storm starts to pull northward. Otherwise, a stalled front means thunderstorms from Florida along the Gulf Coast into Louisiana, as areas from the Midwest to New England have a generally dry Tuesday in store with some sunshine. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Don't forget you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. More is being learned about the suspect arrested in an apparent assassination attempt against Donald Trump. It's now believed the shooter camped out for nearly 12 hours outside the gates to the Trump International Golf Club and has a long criminal record that spans decades. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports President Biden is decrying the apparent attempt on Donald Trump's life, and the Secret Service is also speaking out about their actions to protect the former president.
He was the subject of a previously closed 2019 tip to the FBI where it was alleged he was a felon in possession of a firearm. In following up on the tip, the alleged complainant was interviewed and did not verify, I repeat, did not verify providing the initial information. The FBI passed that information to local law enforcement in Honolulu.
The suspect in yesterday's apparent assassination attempt against Donald Trump was camped outside Trump's Florida golf course for nearly 12 hours.
The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agent. The agent's hypervigilance and the detailed swift action was textbook, and I commend them and our partners for an exemplary response in keeping former President Trump safe.
Ryan Routh appeared wearing shackles in a West Palm Beach federal courtroom where he was charged with 2 gun counts. Court records show cell phone information placed Routh outside the course from roughly 2 a.m. Sunday until 1:30 in the afternoon. That's when Secret Service agents spotted a rifle barrel sticking out of the shrubbery on the course where Trump was playing. An agent opened fire and Routh fled in an SUV.
Driver! Take 2 steps to your right! Take 2 steps to your right! Driver! Walk straight back! Keep walking!
Before deputies in neighboring Martin County caught him. Authorities are not revealing a particular motive, though Routh had called for Iran to assassinate Trump, whom he once backed, and recently started supporting President Biden and Kamala Harris. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The social media memes and online videos, interviews, and discussions surrounding Haitian migrants eating pets has led to local government and school threats in Springfield, Ohio. Following the story, America in the Morning's Clayton Neville.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says that state police will conduct daily sweeps in Springfield as authorities investigate 33 bomb threats.
Each one of which has been responded to, and each one of whom has been found as a hoax. So 33 threats, 33 hoax. I want to make that very, very clear. None of these had any validity at all.
The governor insisting that bad actors cannot win and explaining that schools will stay open.
We have people, unfortunately, overseas who are taking these actions. Some of them are coming from one particular country. We think that this is, one more opportunity to mess with the United States, and they're continuing to do that.
Springfield's become the center of the national immigration debate this election season after the Trump Vance ticket spread stories about Haitian migrants stealing and eating pets. Local police and city officials have said none of those reports are credible. Senator J.D. Vance, former President Trump's running mate, addressed critics who blame him for the fallout in Springfield while speaking with CNN's State of the Union.
The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to, create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana.
The Ohio State Highway Patrol plans to sweep Springfield school buildings every morning and every night, and officers there will be on campuses during the school day. I'm Clayton Neville.
Chaos in New York after a corruption scandal continues to net high-profile people close to New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Correspondent Julie Walker reports that 2 ex-fire chiefs in New York City are under arrest as this federal probe widens.
We have indicted Anthony Saccavino and Brian Cordasco.
two former chiefs of the department's Bureau of Fire Prevention.
Charged in New York City, two former fire department chiefs for what U.S. Attorney Damian Williams says was a pay-to-play bribery scheme involving tens of thousands of dollars.
As the indictment alleges, Sacavino and Cordasco, acting together with a co-conspirator, solicited and received at least $190,000 in bribes in exchange for giving special treatment to certain building owners and developers for at least 30 different projects around this city.
Where he says Anthony Sacavino and Brian Cordasco allowed some to get faster approvals from the Bureau of Fire Prevention.
These defendants used their power as senior members of the FDNY to let some people cut to the front of the line. They allegedly created a VIP lane for faster service that could only be accessed with bribes. That's classic pay-to-play corruption, and it will not be tolerated by this office.
The arrests come after multiple federal investigations swirl around Mayor Eric Adams and his inner circle, including one inquiry that appears partly focused on whether the administration sped up fire safety inspections at the Turkish consulate in exchange for illegal contributions. Julie Walker, New York.
Coming up next, submersibles attempt to view the wreckage of the Titanic. The investigation continues. Also, Chuck Palm has your tech report. Robert Workman has sports when America in the Morning continues after these messages. I'm John Trout. Welcome back here with America in the Morning. Their last message said they were all good here, but 6 seconds later, tragedy struck. Correspondent Ed Donahue reports on the continuing investigation into the implosion of that submersible that was heading to the remains of the Titanic.
A visual recreation of the journey of the Titan before it imploded shows among the last words heard from the crew were, "All good here." The Coast Guard says the Titan was left exposed to the elements while in storage for 7 months before the journey. Tony Nissen, former engineering director for the company that owned the Titan, was asked if he felt pressure to get it in the water.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Nissen says the CEO of the company, OceanGate, Stockton Rush, wanted him to be the pilot of the submersible.
And I told him I'm not getting in it. And he asked me why. And I said, because the operations crew, I don't trust them.
Nissen was fired in 2019. Stockton Rush was one of the 5 people killed in the Titan. I'm Ed Donahue.
Florida authorities got wind of a student who said he had a kill list and was making threats against 2 schools. Sue Aller reports that police took into custody an 11-year-old boy who now faces felony charges.
A concerning situation involving an 11-year-old boy from Creekside Middle School in Port Orange, Florida. The student from Volusia County was arrested on Monday and charged with a felony for threatening to commit a mass shooting. Officials say he made threats during a video chat and showed off various weapons, including airsoft rifles and knives. A list of names to be targeted were also found by authorities when they searched his home. The student said it was all a joke. Sheriff Mike Chitwood didn't find it funny at all. Last week at a press conference, he made headlines for stating that his office will start publishing the names and photos of juveniles and their parents of kids who make such threats.
Every time we make an arrest, your kid's photo is going to be put out there. And if I could do it, I'm going to perp walk your kid so that everybody can see what your kid's up to.
Florida has a law that allows law enforcement to release the names and photos of minors involved in felonies. Sheriff Chitwood believes this is necessary to deter future threats and hold both students and parents accountable. I'm Sue Aller.
A judge rules that Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name will remain on the Wisconsin ballot. The judge said in his decision that according to state law, presidential candidates who have submitted nomination papers cannot be removed from the ballot unless they die. Kennedy is expected to appeal the decision. Time is of the essence as Wisconsin county clerks face a Wednesday deadline to print ballots and distribute them to more than 1,800 local offices in cities, towns, and villages who run elections in the Badger State. Also in election news, former Trump administration Chief of Staff Mark Meadows lost his bid to move his Arizona election case to federal court. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
A judge has rejected former President Donald Trump presidential chief of staff Mark Meadows' bid to move his charges in Arizona's fake elector case to federal court, marking the second time he has failed in trying to get his charges moved out of state court. In a decision, the judge says that Meadows missed a deadline for asking for his charges to be moved to federal court and failed to show that the allegations against him related to his official duties as chief of staff to the president. Meadows, who faces charges in Arizona and Georgia in what state authorities alleged was an illegal scheme to overturn the 2020 election results in Trump's favor, had unsuccessfully tried to move state charges to federal court last year in the Georgia case. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Former President Donald Trump has announced the debut of the new World Liberty Financial cryptocurrency exchange run by his sons. Here's Chuck Palm with that in today's Tech News.
Former President Trump has announced he is launching a crypto exchange. Officially dubbed World Liberty Financial, he has been announcing it for weeks on X, including a video promoting the service where he said, "We're embracing the future with crypto and leaving the slow and outdated big banks behind." According to an article on Forbes, Trump's sons will be managing the crypto exchange with their father's endorsement, despite previously disavowing crypto, saying that it was highly volatile and based on thin air. Furthermore, Trump told Fox Business in 2021 that crypto was a disaster waiting to happen and it seemed like a scam. Trump and the Republican Party have seemed to change their tune, warming up to crypto and saying that the Security and Exchange Commission's crackdown was on part by bad actors and attempt at regulations is what he described as a war on crypto. In addition, Trump's pick for running mate Senator J.D. Vance has been very pro-Bitcoin, and Trump had pledged to fire SEC Chair Gary Gensler if he's reelected. For more crypto news, follow me on X at Chuck Palm.
We're up to Tuesday sports now on America in the Morning. Here's Robert Workman.
Monday Night Football, the Falcons clipped the Eagles 22-21. Kirk Cousins drove Atlanta 70 yards in the final 2 minutes, hitting Drake London for the touchdown. Week 3 in the NFL kicks off Thursday night in New Jersey with the Patriots at the Jets. The woebegone Panthers have decided to bench quarterback Bryce Young in favor of the veteran Andy Dalton for Sunday's game at Las Vegas. Young, the number 1 overall pick last year, is now 2-16 as a starter, and his QBR this year is 8.9. That is not on a scale of 10. Baseball Monday, the Brewers bounced the Phillies 6-2 in a matchup of NL division leaders. Milwaukee has a magic number of 2 in the Central, so they could clinch tonight. Mets nipped the Nationals 2-1 in 10 innings on Starling Marte's walk-off RBI single. They now lead Atlanta by a game for the last NL wildcard. The Dodgers shut out the Braves 9-0. 5 pitchers allowed just 4 hits. Cardinals blanked the Pirates 4-0. Andre Palante went 7 innings on a combo 4-hitter to outduel rookie sensation Paul Skeens.
I'm very focused on me versus the hitters. Really, I'm just trying to pitch as best I can, regardless of who I'm throwing against. I mean, he's a really good pitcher. So you kind of know it's going to be a tight game, but I was glad that we pulled ahead.
Cubs drubbed the A's. Shota Imanaga struck out 11 to win his 5th straight. Guardians got by the Twins. That's Cleveland's 40th come-from-behind win this year. Tigers tripped the Royals to stay alive in the AL wildcard. White Sox whipped the Angels, their 3rd win in a row. First time they've done that since June. Rockies edged the Diamondbacks, and the Padres poked the Astros. That's Tuesday Sports.
Thank you, Robert. When we return on America in the Morning, rapper arrested, rockers cancel. After these messages. This is America in the Morning. New trouble for rapper-producer Sean Diddy Combs. The music mogul was arrested in a New York City hotel after a grand jury voted to indict him in a federal case. The indictment was sealed, so the charges were not announced. The New York Times is reporting it's believed Combs is being charged related to racketeering and sex trafficking. The arrest of Combs makes him the highest-profile figure in the music world to face criminal charges for sexual misconduct since R. Kelly, who was found guilty and is serving a 30-year prison term for sex crimes, sex trafficking, and racketeering. The rock group Jane's Addiction is canceling their entire tour after an on-stage fight between singer Perry Farrell and guitarist Dave Navarro. Entertainment correspondent Margie Zaraletta reports.
Jane says
Jane's Addiction say in a statement they have made the difficult decision to take some time away as a group, which means the rest of the tour is canceled. They were about halfway through a tour that was set to end October 16th in Los Angeles. Video from Friday's concert in Boston shows Perry Farrell getting upset at Dave Navarro before taking a swing at him, then Farrell being dragged off stage. Farrell's wife Etty wrote on Instagram on Saturday that Farrell was frustrated at being drowned out by the band and having to scream to be heard. I'm Archie Zaraletta.
America in the Morning entertainment correspondent Kevin Carr is still reflecting on the Emmy Awards and some big sidebar moments.
Emmy winners celebrated following the ceremony on Sunday night.
Team Shogun, make some noise! Team Hacks, make some noise!
If you missed some of the big winners, here's where you can check them out. Shogun and The Bear are streaming on Hulu, Hacks is available on Max, and Baby Reindeer is available on Netflix. However, not all celebrations were cheers.
I am not okay.
Country star Jelly Roll drew some tears with his song I Am Not Okay under the In Memoriam segment, which included tributes to Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons, Lou Gossett Jr., and Donald Sutherland, among others. Sadly, Shelley Duvall and Joe Flaherty were left out of the segment. Like last year, viewers reacted positively to on-screen reunions with the casts of Schitt's Creek, The West Wing, and Happy Days.
You could do it. No, come on. First of all, I'm out of practice.
Backstage, after winning Best Variety Series, The Daily Show's Jon Stewart offered a call for civility following Sunday's assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
The one rule maybe we could all benefit from in terms of engagement is no shooting.
Finally, in a Monday morning interview on The Wrap, Emmy's executive producer, Jesse Collins, apologized to John Oliver for playing him off during his speech about his dog.
She was with us for the 2 pregnancies, and perfect choice of music. We had to say goodbye to her. I feel like Sarah McLachlan right now.
I'm Kevin Carr.
Finally today, happy birthday to us. 40 years ago today, America in the Morning debuted on the Mutual Broadcasting Network, which eventually became Westwood One, owned by Cumulus Media. My predecessor in the role of show host was the late Jim Bohannon, who held that position for 31 of our 40 years. Thanks to you for making our program possible. America in the Morning is produced by Jeff McKay, senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.